Hi, I'm Charla from Freezer Meals 101.
And I'm Christy, and today we are doing vegetarian meals for individuals.
These are such great recipes, and you do not have to be a vegetarian to enjoy them.
The meals in this session are wildly individual, meaning there's great variety. But they're also individual, as in, one or two people would find the servings a nice size, because we cook for our families all the time. But if you're living by yourself, or if it's, just the two of you and you're empty nesters, it is hard to cook every day. We hear that all the time.
Yes, and we really want to be able to offer you lots of ideas, and we want to help you think outside the box. Like, you do not need to be opening up a can of beans or having like a store-bought TV dinner. We can help you make homemade TV dinners that actually are real food, taste amazing, and are things you love. So we really want to help you get creative with your meals and get back to where you used to love cooking. Or if you never have before, we want to get you to the point where you do love cooking.
Because it's not really cooking. When you're doing it all ahead of time, people ask me, because we do the videos, they're like, don't you get sick of cooking? And I'm like, no, because every day at 4 o'clock, I never have to think, oh, what's for supper? I don't have to run to the grocery store and say, oh no, I'm out of peppers. It's all there. It's all in the bag. I had pulled it out that morning. It is stress-free, and it's barely cooking because it's got a label on it. My teenagers can do it.
And so these ones today, you can reheat them on the stove, in the microwave. Like, these are so easy. We actually recently in our Facebook group had somebody whose husband goes away for long haul trucking, and he's got a little fridge freezer in his truck and a microwave. And so she was looking for ideas. And so for things like that, and all the things, and camping and trailers and like all the things in between.
These are gonna work out really well. And because they're individual sized, they're gonna fit in his little individual fridge freezer.
Absolutely.
It'll work out really, really great. So we should get started.
We're excited to share this with you today. Yeah, let's get going. Okay, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to get a vegetarian chili going on the stove. So into our large pot, we're going to add a can of crushed tomatoes, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of kidney beans. Now, because this is chili, you don't have to drain them if you don't want to. Some frozen corn. Now, normally you would add celery, but I'm allergic to celery, so we are skipping. And funny side note, 2 of my kids are also allergic to celery.
Is that true?
Yes.
And you would know
that means it's genetic, except that these 2 particular kids happen to be 2 of my adopted kids, and they are actually not biologically related to each other either. So it's very strange. So we are not doing celery.
No celery.
Because actually a lot of our individual meals end up going to my son, who's living on his own, working away this summer in the mountains. And so we had made a bunch of meals for him.
Oh yeah,
48.
We'll put a link up for that sucker. It was a good one.
And so so if this ends up going to him, he happens to be one of the ones that's allergic to celery.
I had no idea. This
Really?
is new information to me.
That's so funny, because you usually know everything about
I kind of do. Isn't he also allergic to bananas? Just you?
I'm allergic. Yeah, just me. Yeah.
Maybe
She's allergic to tree nuts as well as to celery, which is so weird. And then he's just celery and like wasps. So very unrelated, but anyway. Okay, let's get back to our pot. Sorry, we always go on these, but it's good.
Hey, these things have to get cooking. They gotta get started. It can be on the stove and just bubbling away. It's fine.
So then we're gonna add some red pepper, some yellow pepper, some garlic that's minced. We like to use the jars of garlic. It's just a lot faster and easier, and we go through them so quickly that it works well. Some diced onion, carrots that are peeled and sliced, cumin, chili powder, and salt. Now, if you were making this for a large family, you could put all these ingredients raw into your freezer bag and just freeze it like this, and then cook this on the day of cooking in your slow cooker or on your stovetop. But because we are wanting this to just be a reheat and we want to be able to portion it into individual portions, we're actually going to cook it up, soften that carrot, soften the onions, soften those peppers.
Let those flavors meld a bit, right?
And we'll divide it into freezer bags. Now we're going to be using mostly today, I think all but 1 or 2 recipes, we're going to be using quart size freezer bags. Now a lot of the time when we do individual freezer meals, we use those containers that can be microwaved. We're using that in one meal only today.
Right. We find that the bags, they stack nicely, they store nicely, especially if you are, when you are living by yourself or if it's just the two of you, you don't need the chest freezer anymore. I know some of you have them because it's hard to give up those habits when you go from a big family.
Yes.
And the security of having that giant freezer. But really, there's a lot of people don't need it. And so you do want to kind of scale down what you are storing things in as well.
So while we've got that bubbling away on our one burner, we are going to get some dal going. You guys, like today, we are going to have 3 burners going. Actually, while we cook the rice, we'll have the 4th burner going.
Yeah, that's
so we're gonna have 4 burners going, and we're gonna put something in the oven. So it's gonna be a lot of scurrying.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because, well, we don't know how many meals we're gonna end up with this by the end. This is kind of exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Because, it's a lot of work today, but there's 2 of us.
Yep.
We've done our prep, so we're ahead of the game. Really, it's just, instead of assembling, we're cooking and then assembling, and it's kind of the same thing. And it's going to pay off. Oh, the payoff is big, right?
The payoff is huge because on the day on the days following that you want to make these, everything's done. And these are like pre-cooked. You're just reheating.
It's just a reheat. So this next recipe is red lentil dal. We are starting out with cooking our onions for 5 to 7 minutes in a little bit of olive oil. We're going to add in the ginger and the garlic. Now, again, this is the jar of garlic, and we like squeezy tube ginger. We go through it fast enough that it stays fresh in the tube, and it saves us the trouble of having to grate it ourselves. We're gonna cook for 1 minute like that, stirring, and then we're gonna add in our spices here. We're gonna add in curry powder, some ground cumin, some coriander, some garam masala, a little bit of salt, and we can't forget the turmeric. You're gonna add a cup of broth and get it all nice and mixed, and then you're going to add the rest of our broth. Then we're going to add in our rinsed lentils and our diced tomatoes. Now this, and you wanna bring it up to a boil and then drop it back down to a simmer. You wanna give this a good 30 minutes for those lentils to soften. You're gonna stir it occasionally. You're gonna let it cool. And then this one is the one we are going to put in the containers. It's gonna go so nice with the rice. We've got basmati rice here. We're gonna put it in the container beside the dal. So, some of it's gonna mix. In the end, you're all gonna mix it. It's gonna be good.
Totally. And we're gonna throw some frozen peas in some of those containers. So that way, if you want a little bit more vegetable, you can have it. And these are gonna be really nice.
These are gonna be great.
When you are doing one of these sort of all day or half day meal marathons and you're meal prepping and getting everything all out of the way so that you don't have to cook again for like a month, but it's actually a really big time saver and saves money too if you use similar ingredients. So in the dal, our main ingredient was the red lentils, and now we're making spicy lentil soup. This is a recipe I got from my sister-in-law, Marcia. It is so darn good. And it's kind of how I convinced Christy to try lentils.
It's true. I was not a believer because anytime that I had had them before, the texture bothered me. And so what has happened for me to make me like lentils is the immersion blender, and to just, or you could do a regular blender, and just to really puree it to the point where it's unrecognizable and it kind of has the texture of a cream soup.
Yes.
And here's what's extra funny, because my go-to isn't lentils, and that's okay, but having two recipes that have red lentils, you're like, what are you doing? They're all going to be the same. These couldn't be more different.
The flavors are so different. And we purposely, you can run an immersion blender through your dal. And of course, if Christy was the one eating it,
I'm not going to eat these ones. But I have one of these at home in my freezer too, and I will probably run. Okay, I'll give it a try the way it is. My palate has expanded since I met you.
It's true.
Texturally, not so much, but I'll try it. That's fine. The flavor's good.
And the reason we left the dal unimmersion blenderified this time whole was, thank you, that's a much easier way of saying it, is because I wanted it to
I never thought I'd be on YouTube standing there saying whole. Sorry. That's kind of a funny one. Whole.
Sometimes the brain synapses don't quite.
We're not flashing today, man.
Anyway, so it just adds more difference because they're gonna have very different looks and textures and whatever. So that's all. But for this spicy red lentil soup, what we're gonna do is in our stovetop pot, we are gonna saute some onions in olive oil. And again, you're gonna see how this is even similar in this starting step, which saves you time because you're just doing it in two pots. And so it's just easy to kind of just keep going. Then you're going to add some garlic, again from the jar, some cumin, some paprika, a little bit of cayenne pepper. Now, if you like things spicier, we are giving you free reign to add as much cayenne pepper as you like. Then you're gonna add some broth. Now, of course, if you wanna keep it vegetarian, you're gonna use vegetable broth. If you don't care, you could use chicken broth. So, whatever you like. Then you're gonna add some dry red lentils that you have rinsed first, some tomato paste, and a bay leaf. You're gonna bring that to a boil, stirring it here and there, and then you're just gonna turn the heat down and simmer it for about a half an hour until those lentils are tender. You're gonna get rid of the bay leaf and we're gonna run the immersion blender through it. Alternately, you can split this in half and do half at a time in a traditional blender if you don't have an immersion blender. Then we're gonna stir in a can of evaporated milk and some salt and pepper. You wanna allow this to cool before you transfer it into your freezer bags. There's lots of reasons actually that it's important that we cool these things before we add them to the freezer bags or even to the containers. It creates condensation and then you get more freezer burn. It's harder to get the air out of the bag. You can even, if it's too hot, you can warp that plastic bag.
You can warp your bag, and worse, you can warp your seal. And then you are in a pickle.
Yeah. And you can also make your freezer have to work a lot harder. And if you've got things in your freezer that are frozen already and you put something that's warm on top, that can kind of start to thaw the thing that's underneath it. It's just all kinds of bad.
And then that will get condensation between the two and the bags will stick.
Yes.
You want your bags to be dry when you put them in the freezer. People ask us that all the time. How do you keep your bags from sticking? They're dry.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. That's the best way to do it.
Just a really quick note about the lentils is that because we're making 2 lentil recipes today, that also allows us, if we want to buy the lentils in bulk because we're making, and you could even double each of these if you wanted. We also have a really delicious red lentil cauliflower curry. The recipe for that is in our club. We have made that in individual portions before because we made it for Christy's father-in-law. And
it is on the spicy side, and I kind of forgot that when I sent it to him. He had had a knee surgery, and and he was so complimentary about it because it isn't just about the heat, it's about the flavor. It was really, really good.
It's super flavorful. So if you wanted to throw that into your vegetarian freezer meals for one session, that would be another one that would be really complimentary, and that is very different because of the cauliflower curry aspect of it.
That's right.
And that one you cook in your slow cooker, so you could actually have your slow cooker going
with
that
really
in
could.
it. And you could have your pots on the stove going with these in them. and just have more to portion out at the end of your day.
I do have to chuckle a little bit. You're like, you could get your lentils in bulk. And I thought you were going to say, to save lots of money, lentils are like $1.
They are inexpensive, although they are going up.
They're even going up. Everything's going up. Freezer meals for the win on that one too. Because, you know, you can buy them in bulk, which will make them cheaper. Everything is cheaper when you do it with freezer meals.
Absolutely.
It really, really is. This next recipe is really new to us, and it's not often that, okay, it is pretty often that we find winners because you have a really strong palate. I have a really strong cooking sense. We are good at this, and we have good recipes and we run them through the test. Like, we freezer mealize them, that they're gonna work. We make sure that we do freeze them, and then we consume them to make sure that we want to make sure before we pass it along to you.
Yeah, and between Christy's family and my family, there's a lot of testers.
There is a lot of testers. It's not just Charlotte and I, although that's probably the biggest, and your taste buds are the biggest reason that these taste good. But so when we tried this one out, we were so excited about it. Like, we froze it that day and ate them that day. This is spinach artichoke quesadillas. And they were so good, and we were so excited that we actually threw them into the mega session that we're having the week after. We both work from home. Hi, we're Charlotte and Christy. We live 2 doors apart. We live on acreages. We're in a subdivision out here in Alberta. We're Canadian. And we work from home. And so we have to find something for lunch. And so we thought, this is perfect. We're going to make extra of these so that we can have them for lunch. And they are such a winner that we are putting them in this one today so that you can find out about them if you didn't already know about them.
And even my husband, who is more of a meat eater, like I love vegetarian meals, and I always kind of lean more towards that side of things, but he's such a meat eater. He is like gaga over these things. He can't get enough.
They are so good.
They're restaurant quality for sure.
They're restaurant quality for sure. So hang on to your hats. And I mean, we've talked it up, but we backed it up.
Yes.
These definitely are fantastic. You are going to start out with 15 ounces of artichoke hearts. You're going to just chop them up, and we're going to blot them with a paper towel just to kind of make sure that they are nice and dry before we put them in with the spinach and on the tortilla here. We're gonna add some spinach that's been chopped, just fresh spinach. We don't want to use frozen for this part. We're gonna add in some chopped red pepper. I would say diced small, right? We want to make it nice and thin to go into the quesadilla. We're going to add in lots of garlic. Like, I don't know if you know, but garlic and spinach and artichoke are like the perfect little trio. They really, really are. They're wonderful together. We're gonna add in mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, bit of salt and pepper, and because this is Charlotte's recipe, we're adding red chili flakes, but you will thank me. They're the right thing to put in there. It's just the right amount of heat without being hot at all.
It's not spicy.
You're gonna mix it all together. We're gonna take your large tortilla, and we've kind of mucked around a little bit with measurements here. I started out with 1/3 of a cup and found that I always wanted to add just a hair more. So, you know, that 1/3 of a cup to 1/2 a cup scoop size. We just use our measuring cups because it's easy. Add that into half of your tortilla, fold it over, and then you're gonna put that on a cookie sheet. And once you've got 4 on there, you're gonna flash freeze them so that they're nice and flat before you add them into your freezer bag. That way they won't stick together and all of the stuff stays inside. Just so you know, that's how we do it, and that is the best way to do it. If you wanted to add meat to these to up your protein, you could add a little bit of cooked cube chicken or shredded chicken. When you go to cook these, you know, you can cook them from frozen. I do like to let them thaw a little bit. It just makes it a little bit faster. You just do them in your skillet. And I think 2 of these are about the perfect serving size. We love them so much, we don't even need to put a salsa with it. You don't need anything with it. They are just delicious.
They're great on their own. And if you had company over, and so you wanted to be making 4 or something, you can also cook these in the oven on a cookie sheet. Okay, now I have this.
Yeah.
Sweet tart. Really good for my energy level. Really good for my mood. Not so good for filming. Now we've got quesadillas in the freezer. They're like freezing on those cookie sheets so that we can transfer them into the bags. We've got all kinds of stuff on our stovetop. We've even got some basmati rice on the go so that we can put it in the containers with the dal. So now we need something for the oven, right?
Yeah, we
so we're just gonna get our kitchen working for us.
That's right.
So we are gonna make these really adorable mini pancake muffins. Now, you can make these for yourself. You can make these for your grandkids. You can make these for your kids. But they are really good for yourself too. Like, and there's ways to make these a little more adult. And because you can take out as many or as few as you want, they're perfect for if you're living on your own, because you can take out just a few and you can dip them in syrup if you want. Or you don't have to, but we are going to mix together some flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt in a bowl. And then in another bowl, we're gonna mix together some buttermilk, eggs, and melted butter. You're gonna pour your liquid mixture into your dry mixture and stir it until it's just combined. You know how with pancakes, you don't wanna overmix ever? So that's what you're doing here. Then we're gonna grease some mini muffin tins, and just using a scoop, you can use a cookie dough scoop or a spoon, and fill your muffin tin compartments about 2/3 of the way. And now you want to add any toppings that you want. Now here's where you can kind of make these more for kids or for adults, right? Adults can still eat the chocolate chip ones. Like, let's be real.
I don't like them.
You don't like the
chocolate chip I don't like
ones?
chocolate chip pancakes.
Yeah.
I like blueberry pancakes, and my kids are like, meh.
Yeah. So today I think we're gonna do blueberry and probably chocolate chip, but there are so many variations, and I have made pretty much all of these variations because my kids really, really like these. So you can do, of course, chocolate chips or white chocolate chips. You can do blueberries, frozen. Now with blueberries, what I like to do, this is a little trick, is if you've got your frozen blueberries, I like to put them in a bowl and just toss them with a bit of flour before I mix them in, because otherwise it's all like it colors your pancake mix.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
So this, okay.
So then it doesn't.
I want to clarify. So you're talking about mixing in, not necessarily topping, either or?
Yeah, okay. So for this one, I'm probably just gonna press the blueberries into it, so I wouldn't do that. But when I make actual pancakes with blueberries,
you toss them in flour.
I toss them in flour first.
I learned something new from you about baking.
Amazing. And I know she's usually the baker.
That's so interesting.
And
I didn't
blueberry
know.
muffins, same thing. Because you know how it streaks?
It doesn't bother me.
Or if you want to have
I just accepted
pretty
that
purple in
that's
your
what
muffins.
happens when you make blueberry pancakes. I just accepted it, but I'm gonna try that because that's kind of cool.
Okay,
that's nice.
You could also do raspberries, strawberries, bananas, apple pie filling, coconut. I have a daughter that loves the coconut ones. Brown sugar and cinnamon mixed together, some cinnamon sugar, lemon juice and icing sugar, dried fruit of any variety, Nutella, syrup right in there, just right on top of your little mini muffins here. Jam or jelly, honey, sprinkles, because that's awfully fun. Nuts, sausage, bacon, turkey bacon, cheese.
Oh, that's so good.
Goat cheese and rosemary, which I've totally done.
That's so grown up.
I know. And when you start adding like the bacon or sausage or the goat cheese and rosemary or whatever, it's more of a breakfast. Like it's
heartier.
Yes. And you're getting a little bit less dessert, more breakfast.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
You could also do ricotta and honey, peanut butter and banana, caramel, applesauce, yogurt, or lemon curd.
All of the above.
Not all together.
Not all together. I would do also it isn't on your list, but as soon as you said the ricotta and rosemary, I would do ricotta and pear.
Oh, that would be so
And then
good.
dip that in honey or something.
Yeah, that would be really good.
That would be nice. See,
the
possibilities are endless. We must be hungry. We should stop and like eat something from what we're making. We won't put that on camera.
We're trying to make pancake bites like foodie-licious, which is just so funny.
But I think we just did. There's the ricotta, and then this reminds me of the lemon ricotta poppy seed waffles we made for Mother's Day.
Those were so
good.
Those were amazing. Okay, so we're gonna get all of this on the go. We will check back with you. These are gonna cook, and we are gonna allow them to cool before we add them into our freezer bag, of course. And then for these, you can add them into a large freezer bag as long as every time you take some out, you make sure that you take the excess air out again before you seal it, because otherwise you'll get that freezer burn. So yeah.
Okay, well, check this out. Look at what all we did.
Yeah, and it did not take a full day. This was not like a marathon. We did do a freezer meals for one for my son where it was like 48 meals, and that took us a full day.
That was a full day, but that was also more than double the food.
Yeah, oh yeah. This is only 19 meals plus, I mean, we're assuming that you're gonna have 2 quesadillas at a time.
Right.
If you're only having 1 quesadilla at a time, then it's a lot more than 19 meals.
Sure.
But we're assuming that 1 serving for you is going to be the 2 quesadillas. So 19 meals with that assumption, plus the breakfast or snack with pancake bites.
That's right.
So that's a pretty good chunk towards a month of meals.
And the variety here, and I mean, I know there's 2 lentil dishes. However, they are quite different, as you can see, because here's the dal and here's the soup. The soup is soupy and the dal is goopy. And and I thought, as we were getting ready to start this segment, I said, oh, look, they look like little Italies. But we should look up the flag of India. Ooh. I think this looks like the flag of India, if I can recall my flags.
That's cool. Whether you are vegetarian or not, we wanted to share with you some of the other recipes that you can find on our site and in the club that are perfect for dividing into freezer meals for one that are vegetarian. And so those are things like our baked tortellini Alfredo, and you can add meat into that by adding bacon or cooked chicken, but you can also make them vegetarian by, my favorite is like mushrooms and frozen peas, but we also really like sun-dried tomato and mushroom.
That one is probably the bacon one, but the mushroom and sun-dried tomato is really good.
You like the bacon and sun-dried tomato?
Yeah, maybe. We've mixed and matched for so long that we've kind of tried every combination.
Lots of
So if you don't understand what we're talking about, it's Alfredo sauce with the cheese tortellini that you get at Costco, and then you mix it together, and then you just literally add in mix-ins. We just call them mix-ins. So sprinkle some bacon bits, sprinkle some sun-dried tomatoes in there, mix that in, put it in your little bag like these, and then individual serving. Or you could put them in these too.
We usually put those in the foil trays, and then we sprinkle the mozzarella cheese on top, and then you can bake them. And that tortellini, it bakes up in the sauce. Like, you don't have to pre-cook that pasta. It just bakes up in the sauce.
Because it's fresh pasta, right? Yeah.
We also have our African Thai stew that is packed with flavor.
That was probably the first recipe that you converted me. Because it's like got chickpeas in it. And I'm like, okay. But the flavor was just, and it's sweet potatoes or yams, and who doesn't love that? And so it was astonishing. And then you did laugh because I still put it on rice.
Yes.
But
then the Moroccan chickpea stew, which by then I had converted Christy to like, chickpeas are not always awful. And then, so that one is really, really good. And we have done that one as an individual meal because it really, like, it's one of those ones where you make a big batch of it and then you can portion it out. The red lentil cauliflower curry, we talked about that one already. Chana masala, chickpea
More
and
chickpeas.
vegetable curry, which, you know, I was vegetarian for quite a number of years, and so I do have a pretty good repertoire of vegetarian recipes, but I'm also always on the lookout for more, because it's just kind of the way, like, it's what I lean towards, even though I do eat some meats now, but yes. And then mac and cheese. I don't know if you knew, but some mac and cheese you can freeze. We've got a really good mac and cheese recipe on our site that you can freeze. And again, you can portion it into those little foil trays, and then, or you could put it into these microwave containers so that you can microwave to reheat. And then we have a black bean and corn enchiladas that are
because
so
we
good.
haven't had them in a while. Like, we haven't done them in a mega session, and I've been craving them. So I actually went and bought myself some little corn tortillas and some enchilada sauce. Even though sometimes I make the for my own enchiladas, I have a nice enchilada sauce that I like to make. But I am gearing up to make myself a batch because it's nice to have lunches.
And the last time that we made them was for when we made them for my son, and we gave them to him. So
yeah, that's right.
So we don't have them.
We don't have them.
But that's how well they go into individual freezer meals. Like, we've done it several times. And I mean, those are good for family size or individual. That's an amazing recipe.
It really, really is.
And then we have a ton of amazing vegetarian soups.
We really do. We really do. And I mean, some are like straight up vegan.
Yeah.
I think the carrot soup and the butternut squash. Neither of them have a drop of cream in it.
And they taste creamy. Like,
they taste creamy.
Like they do.
Yeah. Again, making friends with your immersion blender.
And we've got a vegetable soup that is like just cans. Like, it's like one of those pantry staple kind of soups, and it's a vegetable taco soup. Anyway, we have tons
and the
of
minestrone. We just have so much to offer. You should join the club, because you would see all of those in there. There's lots of them on our website too, but a lot of them are in the club. And I'll tell you something else about the club. It's the Freezer Meals 101 Club. In there, you can adjust the recipes. So say you want to just try it before you make 6 of them. You can scale it down, and it will tell you how much of each ingredient you need. It will give you a shopping list. It'll give you a prep list, so it'll tell you to chop up a quarter of an onion or whatever you need to make your meal on a smaller scale. Or if you really want to get busy and do all that work and just make like 3, or you make the full meal, or you double it, and you can do this in an afternoon. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
This did not take us long.
It really didn't. No, it really didn't.
And one more tip for you before we let you go. And that is, if you are able to find a friend to do this with, a family member to do this with, like, it's so much more fun. We've had a really enjoyable afternoon.
Yes, we really have. We've covered a lot of territory.
Yes.
For people who live very close to each other, it's like we hardly talk or something. We had so much to say today off camera.
Had lots of visiting to do.
Yeah, we did.
Tons, because Christy went to it wasn't a concert last night.
It wasn't a concert.
It was a Jan Arden storytelling event.
It was a spoken word event. She's a Canadian singer. She's from Alberta. I've known about her since her big song in the 90s was Insensitive.
She's got great lyrics.
She's got great lyrics. She's a beautiful singer, and she's just a beautiful soul. So I went with my husband. Charlotte and her husband had the tickets, and then they couldn't go. So she asked me if I wanted to go, and I'm like, okay, we'll go. I'm like, I don't know if my husband's going to be all keen on Jan Arden. And then we got there, and I read it's a spoken word event. It was in support of a series that our local library was putting on. Christine Sinclair is going to be one of the speakers, and she's a Canadian Olympian. And so
I thought it was a concert.
And so I texted her from the thing, and I'm like, there's no singing. She's just talking. My poor husband, he's not going to stay awake from this. Do you know what? She was so entertaining. She is a gem. She's hilarious. She was heartfelt. She has a great story. She's written books, memoirs, novels. She's a wonderful singer. Look her up if you have never heard of her. I'm so glad that we went, and it turned out to be an excellent evening.
It's so funny because, like, my mom was gonna go with my daughter again. Like if
these tickets just kind of bumped along.
Yeah. And then my husband and I were gonna go because I was showing my daughter Jan Arden's songs because I was trying to convince her that she should go. And she was like, Mom, it's not really my thing. And then, but as I'm listening, I'm like, oh, her lyrics are so good. And oh, I forgot she had this one and that one, whatever. So we decided to go. And then my husband's sisters, 2 of them, are in town and they don't live here. So
they're from another province.
Yeah, and it was like the opportunity. They asked if they could come over and have a hot tub and a visit. And it's like, I always pick relationship. That's kind of how I make decisions is, if it's going to be about relationship, you choose that one. And so in this case, like, I don't get to see them very often. And so that was an easy decision. Was a little bit disappointed about missing the concert, but then it wasn't a concert. And when she texted me from there and I told my husband and we knew that her husband was there, we were like, oh boy.
And he took it like a champ. And okay, he had been up since 5 a.m. There was a few times that he closed his eyes. I know that he missed some of it, but it wasn't because she was boring. It was because he was incredibly tired.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And so Google her, like look her up on YouTube. She is hilarious. She is wonderful. And I just want to be her best friend, kind of. Like she is everybody's best friend. She is that person that you want to know. And she's very real. So we had a very enjoyable evening last night. She did sing at the end. She has a song that we love. It's called Good Mother. And she sings about her mother. Well, it isn't even really about her mother. She talks a lot about her mom. And you should look it up. But one of my favorite songs of hers is actually called Waiting in Canada.
I have never heard that one.
It's just lovely. And I wanted to ask her the question of, who were you? Was this about somebody? Like, did you Taylor Swift this, or did you just make it up that you were waiting here in Canada for whoever was coming? And but it was from the 90s, so I don't know. Who knows?
Anyway. There's one that she's got called Free, and it's about sort of after you leave a relationship that was maybe unhealthy. And it's got lines like, I'm cutting my bangs. And like, it's just like this. You can just see that, this person coming alive, right? And like becoming themselves. And it's like about finding yourself again. It's so good. Anyway, we have turned this into a Jan Arden themed freezer meals.
We better be careful or it's going to be a sing-along pretty soon. So
we're going to sign off. But thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you try some of these recipes. Let us know how it goes for you. I think those pancake mini muffins are awfully cute. Oh, I forgot to say that I did do blueberry for one of the dozen, and for the other dozen, I did a cinnamon sugar.
And we have to tell them about the vegetable chili.
Oh, yes.
As I was tasting it, like as we were cooking, I was waiting until, the carrots were done enough that we could call this done. So I could get it cooling, so I could get it in the bags. And I took a taste and I'm like, oh, this needs something sweet to cut the acid. And so I did Charlotte's trick of a couple of glugs of some maple syrup in there.
We are Canadian.
It's a Canadian household. We all have some maple syrup in our fridge. Actually, we have some in a tap under the sink. So it's just piped right to our houses. And so I added it in, and it was the perfect thing. So if you didn't have maple syrup, a little bit of honey, a little bit of sugar, just something in there to cut that acid, but without really sweetening it up, it was perfect. And we will see you next time.
Happy cooking.